So, hey,
Yeah.
we actually have Star Wars news.
Oh.
The Andor Season 2 trailer has launched.
Oh, okay.
And so I highly recommend going to see that. This is probably the most exciting Star Wars thing for me since Mando Season 1.
The Acolyte. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, the Acolyte.
Mando.
I was
Okay,
very excited about that.
I know what you mean now.
I forgot about my pure jubilation over
Yeah,
that.
you loved it. You loved it. And you had good things to say about it. Okay. I have to get on board, and because I never finished Andor Season 1. I got away from it. So I gotta recommit.
A slow burn. It's a slow burn, but it's
very
good
slow.
because it's what do they call that when it's
Dull.
no. No. When it's like when you build that anticipation over a length of time, so it's like
Seduction.
almost not seduction. No,
Sorry.
that's no. Like when you thriller, I guess, but like a building thriller over time that just things start slowly getting worse. I don't know. Like I feel like if you watch that show week to week, it does lose it because you kind of like. Start to increase and then it drops, when you're out without an episode for a week. But if you were to stream it all together, that tension builds throughout the entire show or season till the culmination of that last episode, And the trailer for Season 2 looks really good.
All right.
There's a lot more action. Now, I don't know if they're just showing more action, but I do remember the trailer of season 1, there being a lot of like people walking, looking, lurking.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we got.
Okay, it's true. That's true. There were a lot of looks. That. Yep.
But no, like I mean, did you get to the prison in episode 1 or season 1?
It's like a heisty episode right in the middle. I don't know. I'm 4 or 5 episodes in. I'm like at the halfway point.
So you didn't even get to you didn't even get to like stuff that's actually pretty good.
That's what I've heard pretty consistently. So
yeah, it does get better. The first 3 episodes are typical Disney Star Wars, very difficult to get through, and then it's like, okay, this is a show.
Then you're on board.
Right?
Did you finish Skeleton Crew? Speaking of Disney Star Wars,
I did finish Skeleton Crew. Did you? Did you even start
it?
I
didn't. I did. I watched. I'm like a halfway point.
Oh, yeah. I can't say anything then.
Okay.
You have to finish it. I can't.
All right.
I can't even say whether I liked it or not.
Okay.
You just have to finish it, and then we'll reserve that.
Fine.
Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the TV movies, the 80s cartoons, the comics, and beyond.
Today we are discussing the long-forgotten Ewok comics published in Spanish by Editorial Gespa. This series was called MyComyc, that's MyComyc, and featured short comic strips from popular 80s cartoons.
That's right. These 8 shorts were published in 1986 with art by Beaumont Studios. The translations that we're reading, they were translated by Abel G. Pena, but I could not find any names for who wrote them originally or who illustrated them originally. They're very much in line with what we saw in the comics, but I couldn't find anything like that. So I don't know.
No original Spanish writer.
I couldn't find it. And I mean, a lot of times, and you see that with books now where it's like, something that's the latest from a Disney movie or something. It'll be sort of like by Disney Publishing and there's no like name attached. So who knows if they just had some staff writers who were just like, all right, you're writing Ewoks this week. I don't know. I couldn't find the info, but interesting nonetheless. Our featured, not a cast member, but our featured story this week is about MyComycs themselves. So aside from droids and Ewoks, they would feature stories from popular shows like Tom and Jerry, The Pink Panther, Inspector Gadget, and one of my favorite, David the Gnome. Did you ever watch David the Gnome?
I did not.
Okay. Nobody
No.
remembers this show. It was in the 80s, and it was called The World of David the Gnome. It was a Spanish cartoon, so it originally aired in Spain. Jose Maria Corderon was the title role of David. The English dub of the series, which I watched, and I didn't realize that it was an import from Spain.
Oh, no
But the
way.
English dub of the series ran on Nick Jr. and starred Happy Days Tom Bosley as David the Gnome. And
Oh, no way.
he's got such a memorable voice. He's got like a fox that he rides around, and he's got this, this wife, and he just goes on these little forest adventures. It's very pleasant. I like it quite a bit.
There you go.
So I guess I have to track down. I don't know if that show's even available. If you could watch it anywhere, I don't know. I would love to rewatch that show because I haven't seen it in 30 plus years.
Is that with the picture of the gnome, with the blue hat?
Yes,
Is that a gnome?
Yes, on the cover of what we're looking at. What we're looking at is the cover of issue number 2. We do see David the Gnome's wife on the cover of that. So,
it's David's wife. Okay,
yep,
all right.
it's David's wife.
I see Robin Hood too. The Disney,
Disney's Robin Hood
Robin
on the
Hood
cover.
Yeah.
And Jerry is C-3PO at Pink Panther, and then I guess Tebow is like putting a coin in the slot to play a cartoon. Maybe, I don't know.
It looks like
it's
some sort of motion picture device.
These are interesting. They read to me a little bit more like a comic strip.
Yes.
Maybe over the course of say 3 days in the newspaper, you'd get like a third of this story, and you'd have to see all 3 together. I don't know that I've ever read Star Wars newspaper strips, but I read a lot of the Star Treks, Wonder Woman, Superman. So I like these action, like long form serialized comic strip. Did you ever read any of those? Anything serious?
I never followed anything. Every once in a while, I caught something in like the Sunday paper, but not really. I remember going for like the Dilberts,
Sure,
Beetle Bailey, like
Beetle Bailey.
those. I really liked that comic specifically.
I do. I read the Sunday paper, and I always like when I get to the comics. Beetle Bailey is the one I seek out. So
yeah, that one was always. I understood it for some reason. I'm sure if I read it now, I'd really understand it.
Yeah,
from an adult point of view.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I thought it was funny as a kid.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that these feel like it because it's just a quick in and out. It's sort of like set off, a little bit of action, pay off, boom, next issue.
Yeah, it almost looks like you can break most of these up into 4 parts.
Yeah.
Basically, if you cut the page right in half.
It's kind of funny, like each of these little stories, these each could have been a pitch for an episode of the show or for a full comic. It's just
totally.
You just get the like boom, 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 and you go right through it. But they also kind of read like, this was a paragraph of like, this is what this issue is going to be about. And it feels like they just kind of executed that in this short form. So it's interesting. We have 8 of them. So how do you want to do this uber detailed plot? Do you want to give each little mini plot and we talk?
All right. Uber detailed plot. Well, not uber detailed. Well, very boiled down detailed micro plot of Princess Nisa's birthday. Dulocs fail to sabotage Nisa's birthday plans when their hiding spots are given away by the flies attracted to their stench.
Yep, that's
basically it.
That's basically it. But it's fun. It's a good, they're picking berries for Nisa and everything, and the Dulocs are trying to. I think they're gonna like poison the berries or something. But yeah, the flies and stuff catch them.
The bushes, or something. Like that. Yeah.
One thing that hit me right away was the coloring is odd at times, but it sure is more vibrant. We're seeing like deep reds and, like deep yellows. And, we were always in that sort of drab, like beigey stuff before.
Yeah.
And the colors are vibrant. What did you think about that look-wise?
I thought the same thing. It is very bright. We kind of get, and we'll have to talk about it as it goes along, we get a little bit different looks and coloring of each character as well. So for the most part, they kind of try and stay on the same color scale with like, so-and-so's hat's orange. It's like, okay, it's orange for the most part, maybe slightly lighter orange or slightly darker orange, or sometimes the hat is yellow suddenly and then orange again. And you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
You know, I noticed a bunch of that.
I would take it over the coloring of the proper issues. I think it's better. But like Nisa in this one is like almost all white, and all of her features are sort of shades of purple, which is weird.
Yeah, that was one of my things that I was that's my Okavark.
Oh,
straight off the bat, I was like
getting right to it. Okay.
Whoa, you guys wrecked Nisa. She is like literally different shades of lilac just stacked upon each other.
Yeah.
Yikes, man. Lay off the purple. Like, it was like, oh, I only got to color one more character, and like he lost all of his markers.
Yeah, I got all these purples out, so I better just use them.
I know, yeah. Even the jewel on her forehead is just white.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay, so Paplu is in this first comic.
Is that Paplu? Oh, that's fun.
Vignette. Yeah, it's Chief Chirpa, Paplu, and Wicket.
Classic.
And I believe that is the Shaman Duloc. So we get the returning Duloc from the
you
original.
might be right, because he's got like he's got the head, like the little head
ponytail thing.
Yeah.
So good one, ends happy. Nisa gets her birthday and her birthday cake, and it's written in English. It says Nisa. All right, let's go to number 2. Ewoks in the perfect antidote. Morag poisons the Ewoks' berry bushes. Logray's antidote restores them, but also protects the precious bushes when Morag returns with more poison. That fails and runs off when its effects turn back on herself.
That's right. I was happy to see Morag back, but this was also another one of those things where it's like, you got your big evil villain, and she's just like messing with berries or whatever. That's also 2 berry stories in a row.
Right in a row. Yep. Right in a row. It also bothered me that they kind of used Morag when I feel like this should have been a Duloc being dastardly and having it bring back on him, rather than just simply failing because the Ewoks' ingenuity or something like that figured out a way around it.
Well, I think we kind of figured out why that is, though, because Morag and Logray just can't quit each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just keep trying to be back in each other's lives to rekindle that flame. And, you know, today with the berries, it didn't happen, but I'm really rooting for them.
It's just an elaborate plan to get Logray to date her again.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Those Ewoks they keep getting in the way.
They get in the way.
Manta grew back. Later, the Manta grew, commanded by Morag, disperses the potion throughout the forest.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
we do a little one-panel.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that because she's again using her powers of evil to control various animals.
Morag,
so very cool.
We get some hot glider action in The Princess in a Predicament.
Yes, let's go to that one. Princess in a Predicament. While collecting sacred river rocks, Princess Nisa is captured by nasty quarks, but is bravely busted out thanks to Wicket's quick thinking. Surely his bravery is worth a Medal of Honor.
I hope so.
Whew.
Nisa is still purple in this one, but Chief Chirpa is also insane colors. He's like bright blue with a pink like vest and has like an orange hood. It's a weird look, but honestly, I mean, I don't hate it. It's very different from what you see in Return of the Jedi, but I guess I kind of like the color variation a little bit. It just feels like it goes too far.
Yeah, I think Wicket's face looks slightly different in these series too. He looks a little bit more pleasant, like he's almost always smiling in every frame, despite what's going on.
He's got kind of a bushy face too. You know what I mean?
Yes,
he's got like kind of like a splash of hair above his little like I don't know mustache. I don't know, but he looks a little different.
In this one, they make it look like orangey-ish, pinkish.
Yeah, they do.
But glider action. I thought this one was good. Didn't we have quarks in the? I
was trying to remember.
In the comic, I think we had it in the omnibus. There were quarks.
Okay,
I remember those guys because I remember typing that word and being like, "Man, how do I say that?"
Yeah,
and not really knowing.
That's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
glad to have them back. So that's a nice touch. I love it when there's like a nod of using a character that's been used before.
Yeah.
All right. The next we have Ewoks in Snare in the Forest. After collecting sacred wood, Wicket and Tebow fall into a Duloc pit and are trapped with a net. After the two struggle to get out, they use ingenuity and build a way out using their sacred wood. They return home without the wood, but their hides intact. Whew.
We did it. Yeah.
We've had sacred wood before, right? Well, didn't they go and wasn't there a whole episode on collecting sacred wood? And
That feels right. That feels
it was
right.
gone because those like other little fur creatures took it. So
this was one that I had to zero in on a couple times because I couldn't quite make sense of how they got out of this predicament, because they fall in a hole that the Dulocs make. And the Dulocs throw a net over them, and they have the sticks with them. And I guess they turn the sticks into ladder using the rope from the net, because it just doesn't actually, you don't actually see that, but it must be.
What's sticking out kind of looks like the very top of a ladder, right? Because you have the two stanchion pieces, and it looks like there's a cross piece. So that's what I thought. The same thing. I was kind of like, where? I mean, what? They fell in with an awful lot of wood.
A lot of wood, but they tried to like use the net to kind of catch something and climb out, and they're like, "No, that won't work. Let's build a ladder." So they must use the net to tie the sticks together, but you don't actually see it. And that was the one where I was like, "I don't understand." But
yeah, when they get out, the net's gone.
I kind of like how we're rotating the cast a little bit, like we're getting, we had Morag, we had the Dulocs, of course, and Wicket's been pretty constant, but Nisa, and then this is like a Wicket Nisa team up, and I like how it keeps changing.
Wicket, this one's a Wicket Tebow.
Sorry, Wicket Tebow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean this one was fun. I think it was good because they didn't win out by sheer luck. Right. They did actually use their Ewok ingenuity to get themselves out. And I thought it was an interesting thing that they were... I had to read that a few times, that I was like, man, they really are actually using that net to try and hitch on something, to try to catch on something, and then climb out like a cargo net. And I thought, I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have just used that wood and like made like little sticks coming out, and I would just climb up them like a ladder.
That also would have worked.
And so it's like, I thought, well, that's an interesting, I like that. That's very different to like throw the net in order to catch on something. Very cool. And again, some little Ewok ingenuity.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have the sacred wood, but they do come out with their hides intact.
That's right.
All right. Next, Ewoks in the Balloon. On an early morning glide, Wicket discovers a hot air balloon, likely used by an explorer. With a bit of engineering help from Logray, Wicket, Tebow, and Paplu take it for a ride. Right over the Duloc village. Yeah, this one could have benefited, I think, from a third page, because it was like, oh no, we're right over the village. And then it just was like,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. I guess done. It's done.
I liked this one, like the hot air balloon, like them finding the hot air balloon and stuff was interesting. But you've already spoiled your Okavark, and my Okavark is in this one. And it's the fact that Wicket finds this abandoned hot air balloon, and there's like a corpse inside of it, and they don't even give that a second thought. They're just like, knock out that corpse, and let's take this hot air balloon. You never find out who the dude was, who's dead in there. I mean, he's got like a helmet on.
Yeah,
it looks humanoid. I just thought that was so weird. Like, it wasn't even empty or abandoned, or they weren't like, oh, this is the great lost balloon of whatever. It was just kind of like,
yeah.
So the guy's dead? Great, let's take it. I thought that was
he won't
weird.
mind. Yeah, that is weird. That is weird.
I mean, I guess they were going to eat everybody in Return of the Jedi. So the Ewoks, their relationship with life and death, they don't care.
I didn't even think about that.
They do not care.
So I liked in this one that we caught a glimpse of the Duloc encampment, and I feel like we got very little looks of it in the show.
That's a good point.
What we're looking at here, I was like, oh, that's too nice.
It is
like they're like thatch roofed
cottages,
buildings. There's like little literally like cottages. Yeah, they look like something out of like an alternative Airbnb or something like that. You would go and live the rustic life.
They do. Yep.
With little fencing and everything. I'm like, oh, really? The Dulocs seem a little bit Yeah, they're horrible. I thought they lived in a swamp, and it's like there's trees, and they're nice and neat, and there's like walkways in between. So
Yeah.
I was a little bit like, wah, wah. But
Yeah,
it was
that's
cool
true.
to see, like, oh, finally we get to like have some good footage of the Duloc camp.
Yeah.
But even though it's not really a good representation.
Another thing that was funny to me in this is they went really hard with Logray's lazy eye in this.
They did. I saw that one.
I'm like, is he drunk? What's happening? But I guess I don't know.
Because with these tubes, hot air can be forced into the balloon and it will inflate. And he's like, this is Logray literally giving up his weed pipe to them. Like,
It's
hey
true.
guys, just use this.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It'll get you anywhere you want, you know.
You know, he's got the Willie Nelson braids already, so maybe, you know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know for sure.
I didn't even realize the frame before it too. They went hard on that lazy eye.
That's
It's
what I
the
mean.
same one.
I don't know. Yeah,
I just thought it was that
weird.
one. Oh man, that's great.
Yep, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. All right.
Oh geez. All right, moving on to Ewoks into Trap Latara. Mesmerized by her own flute, Latara inadvertently walks into a Duloc trap. Wicket, Tebow, and Paplu are sent to find her with a magic flute themselves to help them find her. They find her trapped in a cave, and the three Ewoks manage to pry her out before the Dulocs return.
So is this Paplu that's with them?
This is Paplu. I had to look it up.
Okay. The two feathers.
The dual feathers, the reddish headdress. Yeah. He is not mentioned by name in this whole thing, but he matches the Paplu from the first one. Yeah. And everything I looked up was like, oh yeah, that is Paplu. Even though in the first one he's got the red headdress but blue feathers. This one he's got the red headdress with white feathers. Yeah. He's been the toughest one, I think, for me to catch. You know, I thought he was Chief Chirpa, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, it's not Chief Chirpa. Who is this then? So it was. I found it is Paplu.
All right. We got Logray's lazy eye once again, and Logray has a purple face and blue hands this time.
Yes, Logray and Chief Chirpa both have a purple face.
That's true. You're right. We haven't seen Latara in a long time.
In a minute, right? Yeah.
She disappeared from the comics. I think she was in a comic or two, but it had been a long time since we'd seen her.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see her again, and she got a little bit of. I mean, it's called what? It's like to Trap Latara or whatever.
Trap Latara, and she plays the flute in the show in like season 2. Right. Isn't there an episode with her playing the flute? Yeah. So like again, Ewoks using ingenuity to. I guess he's using He's using a really thin stick to pry these massive rocks, but they managed to get her out.
It was fun to see her.
Absolutely, a flute to find another flute. Interesting story.
Yeah.
All right. Next is Ewoks in Logray's staff. Dulocs managed to steal Logray's magic staff while he sleeps. The next day, a vision leads him to retrieve it from them. They protest, but after a bit of coaxing, they give it back freely. So the first thing that popped into my mind was, man, they have really bad security in the Ewok village.
I think they do.
I mean, you have your houses on top of these like arguably 300-foot redwood style trees, and the Dulocs just freely walk in and walk out, you know, into your shaman's hut and leaves his stuff all, you know, leaning up next to the window all the time. Everything's always by the window.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you noticed, we got a lot of large shots of the Bright Tree Village.
That's
almost in the same frame, all look kind of different, but every single one of those, these comics, don't happen in the village. So to me, I was like, dang it, man, come on. Like, there's not a single one of these that like happens in the village. There's these great frames on a big wide angle shot of the village. And I mean, this is basically the most village we get. 3 frames of Logray's hut, and it immediately is back at the Duloc encampment.
Well, one thing that stood out to me about this one, you know, I love Archie comics. Did you ever read Archie comics?
I did a little bit, yeah.
Well, occasionally they would be, usually it's like Archie in or Jughead in, and sometimes they would be like, Mr. Weatherby in, bad day or whatever. And it would just be like a little short with one of the teachers. That's what this felt like to me, because this is just like a low gray story. You see Wicket and Tebow like from the back walking away at one point, but this is like a solo low gray adventure. And I just thought that was kind of fun.
I didn't even realize that Wicket is in the Wicket and Tebow.
Yeah,
I don't think I even realized that
in one scene, and you only see them from the back. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
and then once again we end with Morag. So let's do it.
Yes, Ewoks in painting exposition. Wicket and Tebow paint beautiful murals for an art exhibit. That night, Morag sabotages it. The next day, Logray reverses the cover-up and suggests that the Ewoks touch up their paint and leave glue behind, just in case. In the morning, they discover Morag stuck in place. Ha ha! Got her. It just looked like... I love the sign that youth pictorial exposition just killed me.
It was very funny. Yeah. I wonder if that, because like you're right, Nisa's name was written in the cake, but they probably wouldn't have changed her name for the Spanish version of this. But whatever that said, that's probably just like a direct translation from whatever the Spanish is, because it is such a funny way to say that. My favorite thing about this is that Morag, the big bad of the whole series, is just being a petty little monster coming in there and being like, you know what? I hate these kids and I'm going to ruin their art. Like that's all that's on her agenda. And I think that's hilarious.
This one is rather petty. I feel like the other one, like poisoning the berries, is kind of like, all right, that's pretty dastardly. I get that. It's like Morag's MO. But this one, like, I'm gonna, like, I'm gonna steal your license plate.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
it's very petty. Like, very petty.
Yeah, but they also get back at her in a very petty way too.
Yeah. It's true.
The glue that killed me.
Yep.
Don't bother standing out watch. Because well, I guess they wouldn't do that because apparently their nighttime security is just atrocious.
Yeah.
But this Morag, I'm gonna paint over there, and it's like when you see one of them's like a picture of Baga.
Yep.
One of them is picture of Bright Tree Village.
Yeah, one of the little huts.
Picture of the two of them, like two Ewoks sitting around.
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, you're right. This one is rather petty.
Yep.
It's just,
that's all she cares about. All right. Well, I mean, we've already said our Ichiwawa. No, we said our Okavarks. We said our Okavarks.
Yeah.
What is your Ichiwawa moment?
Mine, I had two. One, I really appreciated Paplu being back.
Yeah.
And he was in it a lot. Not just like in one. I really like that because he was a fairly major character in the show and then kind of got thrown to, I think, in the first season, right? And then the second season, not really.
I don't know if we ever.
And in the comics, I don't think he was even in the omnibus at all.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I might be wrong about that. But he didn't have any meaningful part to play for a very long time, since at least season one. So it was great to have him back, even though I don't remember where he fits. It's been that long. But I thought some of these had really great plots.
Yeah.
Like I felt myself wanting more. And it's funny that you really liked the the hot air balloon one, but that's the one that I was kind of like, hot air balloon. Like that's a very weird thing to, rather than them finding a person using it and then being like, whoa, it's a large bird ball, or like they would describe it in a way that wouldn't make sense. Instead they're like, what is this? And Logray's like, oh, it's a hot air balloon. And it's like, wait a minute, what? Like, of these things?
That's funny.
But like the Quarks one with like capturing Nisa kind of was like an MO of like one of the original episodes or comics at least.
Yeah.
The falling into the Duloc trap and using the sticks to get themselves out. That one felt like an episode. Like it felt, I feel like we could go back and kind of mirror that one with a certain episode. I think these, how short they were, worked in a way without having all of the Ewoks. I know that's like one of the things that frustrates us when it's just like, man, you can't make like one episode with everybody in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, if you have too many of them, then you really need a frame or two more to have a talking, I guess. And so I guess fits well to have just a small group.
Yeah, focusing on Wicket primarily, but like giving the other spotlight here and there. I mean, I think that makes the most sense to me.
What about you? Yeah.
My Ichiwawa it kind of falls right with what we're talking about, because I really liked that we got Latara-centric story.
Yes.
It's been so long. I think issue 2 was the last one she was in of the comic series. So cool to see her again. And I liked that Logray story. I liked that they took 2 sort of supporting characters and gave them each one of these little vignettes. I thought that was pretty cool. And I do think the balloon was my favorite of these. I don't know why. I guess just, even though it was sort of my Oak of Arc that guy just they didn't even care. But there was something interesting to me about that. I was like, what's going on here? So
there's no impending doom, right? It's not like, oh, we're being poisoned, or if we don't, water the tree of life, the planet will die. And it's like, no, it's just like them just finding something and then getting into trouble with it, Yeah. Well, I guess they don't really I guess they kind of get in trouble, right? At the very end, they're like, they're trying to get us, but they can't. Yeah. Because they're dumb.
Yep.
But yeah, good point on that guy. They do just barely show this skeleton. You see I guess those are just legs. You see like 2 arms, but then the legs are like split up behind itself, and like
it was a bad accident. Whatever happened to that guy was a bad accident. I mean, why show him at all? But I don't know.
Man. He's in Wicket's looking at his hand, like where his hand's at, but not like that giant gash in his skull. Like in that helmet.
I'm going to say that's Mace from the Caravan of Courage movie.
Mace or Sam.
Yeah. Or Sam, as you called him exclusively in that episode.
I only know him as Sam.
Yeah.
But, that would be really funny.
It would. That's my head. That's my head canon. How many Yub-Nubs? How many Yub-Nubs do you give this?
This one was tough. I'd say this one was like 3.75. I enjoyed them, but there was really not much to them. So, in a way, there's not much to complain about. But I don't know. This felt like it fed a loss, like almost between, like you have seasons, and there's like you make like a season 1.5. Of like 3 or 4 episodes just to give people a taste in between 2 seasons. That's what this felt like to me.
Or do you remember the old Garfield show where it would be like a Garfield episode and then like a U.S. Acres episode, and in the middle it would be like a Garfield quickie, and it was just like a little 1-minute scene,
like a one-off little thing.
That's kind of what these felt like.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is like for real.
I don't know. I like comic strips, and I felt like this used the time it had well. It got right to the point. It still felt true to like the Ewok vibe, and I would agree with you. 3.75, 4. I mean,
4. Yeah, 4.
I think they're very.
I feel like 3.75. You get that like $2.99 thing, and it's just say $3.
Just
but
round it up.
I think of 4 because they're really not that bad, but they're not amazing, right? They're just that's good. They're good.
Very curious to see how the droids ones are going to work.
Oof.
Because I haven't read them yet. I've been saving it, but I did. And I was like, is that size from? Like, how are they going to do? The Ewoks lend themselves to like, oh, there's a little catastrophe, we solved it. The droid show really didn't. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get there. But that's not what we're doing next time, because next time is special.
Yes.
Next time we're going to stay on Endor because it's our 100th episode.
Oh yeah,
100 episode.
100.
That's crazy.
That's crazy to me. Yeah, that's quite. Said that at the same time. It is crazy because it's crazy. 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Man, that's a long time.
It's a very long time. Our first episode, like our teaser, dropped on May 20th, 2021.
Oh man, I still remember that. And I talked like a weirdo, and you pointed it out immediately.
That's true.
And I'm all of it. What are you talking like that? Yeah. Thanks.
You can go right to our Podbean account and listen to those early episodes. But we are going to be covering the original novel, The Adventures of Tebow. This is written and illustrated by Joe Johnson, and it has a cover art by Jan Brett. And this is kind of what established what we came to know in the Ewok cartoons. A lot of the things that we learn about in the cartoons were kind of coming out of this novel. So I haven't read it yet. I have my copy. I'm waiting to like sit down and read through it before the episode. So if anybody wants to read along with us, it's called The Adventures of Tebow. I checked mine out from my local library, but they are available out there in the world. So go and search for it. But I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I had to get mine off of eBay because no library had it around.
Yeah.
And I wasn't about to do an interlibrary loan on that one.
Right.
Like, finally, I get the book and it's like from Kansas or something like that. Like,
yeah.
whoa! I give some librarian a lot of work to do. Actually, they probably would have loved it because they would have had to like search through, they probably would have gotten yours. You'd have been like,
probably.
Some idiot got before me, and it's like, he was me.
That would be very funny. That would be very funny. Yeah, they're probably like, are you sure that's what they want? This has not been checked out since 1987, but all right.
That's so true. It's like in mint condition.
Yeah. Spine's never even been cracked. But anyway, that's it. That's our 100th episode. It's going to be The Adventures of Tebow. So
I'm very
excited. Back to talk about it then. Me too.
All right. We'll see you then. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 902.1 Here We Go, 90s Music Got Me Like, and previously on X-Men. Please rate, subscribe, and share the show wherever you get your podcasts.